AITA for refusing to give my college fund to my nephew after my sister found out. So for context, I, 17F, have had a college fund since I was a baby. My grandparents started it, my parents added to it when they could, and even I've put in money from part-time jobs over the last couple of years. Right now, it's enough to cover at least 2 years of college at the in-state university I want to go to. My sister, Maya, 27F, had her son when she was 19. At the time, everyone kind of scrambled to support her. My parents helped with diapers, babysitting, and even let her live with us for almost 2 years. But they made it very clear that my college fund was mine and that helping Maya would be separate from that. Well, last week, everything blew up. Apparently, Maya was talking to my mom about how stressed she is because my nephew, 8M, is struggling in school and she wants to enroll him in this enrichment program that costs a ridiculous amount of money. My mom said she couldn't afford it. My dad also said no. And then my mom mentioned, casually, apparently, something along the lines of, if only we could take from OP's college fund, but obviously we can't. That was enough for Maya to go nuclear. She cornered me later that day, asking why I needed so much money anyway, and telling me I should help family first. I told her no, that the money wasn't even mine until I turned 18, and that even then, it would be for my education. She started crying, saying I was selfish and that her son deserves opportunities too. I thought it was over, but then the group chat with my aunt/cousins started blowing up with not-so-subtle messages about giving back and supporting single mothers. One cousin straight up said that since I'm the golden child, I should share. My parents are furious at my sister, not me, but they're also exhausted and kind of begging me not to respond to the messages. Meanwhile, Maya keeps insisting this enrichment program could change her son's life and that I'm ruining his future by being stubborn. I've said no every time. But the guilt is starting to creep in because I do love my nephew. I just don't think it's my responsibility to sacrifice my entire future for something that isn't even guaranteed to help him. So am I the asshole? The morning after the group chat disaster, things were tense in the house. My parents were whisper fighting in the kitchen before work, and even though they tried to keep it quiet, the walls in our house might as well be made of paper. I caught bits like, she had no right to tell the family, what did you expect? She's desperate. Desperate or not, she's not taking OP down with her. I stayed in my room pretending to sleep. Around noon, my grandma called me. Now, my grandma is the only person in our family Maya won't yell at or cry to because she's very old school and sees straight through emotional manipulation. She asked me, completely calm, if any of this was true. I told her everything, the fund, the fight, the messages. She sighed and said, your education was chosen as the priority. That is the end of the story. And then she hung up. I didn't know what that meant until an hour later when Maya started blowing up my phone with messages like, did you really go crying to grandma? Why would you turn everyone against me? You're proving how selfish you are. I didn't respond. Then, the rail bomb dropped. Maya showed up at our house. She marched into the living room. My dad had forgotten to lock the door. Thanks, Dad, and demanded to talk. My parents both told her to leave, but she refused and kept yelling that she was being punished for being a struggling single mom, and that OP doesn't even appreciate what she has. It was honestly surreal. My nephew was standing behind her looking confused and embarrassed. My dad finally said, if you keep this up, you won't be welcome here anymore. Maya froze. I think she genuinely didn't expect them to say that. She grabbed her son's hand and stormed out, shouting, fine. I'll remember who helped and who didn't. The house has been weirdly quiet since. But the group chat, oh, that got worse. Apparently Maya went crying to everyone about how she's been abandoned, and how a child's future means nothing to any of us. My aunt, her favorite ally, posted a dramatic paragraph about people forgetting that family comes before greed. My mom told me to mute the chat and ignore them. My dad keeps muttering that he's going to set the record straight soon. Meanwhile, I'm just trying to figure out how the heck I became the villain in a story about money that isn't even mine yet. 2 days passed with radio silence from Maya, which honestly was worse than the shouting. My parents kept checking their phones like they were waiting for a bomb to go off. Meanwhile, I was getting side-eyed by a couple of cousins at school who apparently had been fed some dramatic, heavily embellished version of events. Then Sunday rolled around, family dinner day. Normally it's chaos, food, kids running around, my grandma yelling at everyone to eat more. This time, it felt like walking straight into a courtroom. I told my parents I didn't want to go. My dad said, we're not letting them bully you by staying home, and my mom nodded even though she looked stressed enough to combust. When we got there, the tension was thick. The only person who greeted me warmly was my grandma. She put a hand on my shoulder and whispered, ignore the noise. Maya was sitting on the opposite side of the table, arms crossed, eyes swollen like she'd been crying or wanted everyone to think she'd been. Her son was beside her, awkward and quiet. My aunt, Maya's unofficial lawyer apparently, was sitting like she had a whole monologue ready. We hadn't even served the rice before the drama kicked off. My aunt cleared her throat and said, loudly, "Some of us in this family feel deeply disappointed that certain people won't step up when a child needs help." My mom immediately said, "This isn't the time." My aunt ignored her. A little generosity goes a long way, especially when one child already has more than enough. I felt everyone's eyes drift toward me. Before I could open my mouth, my dad slammed his hand on the table. "That money is for her college. End of story. No one else is entitled to it." My aunt rolled her eyes. "We're talking about a child's future. Isn't family supposed to support family?" My grandma suddenly said yes. "And that's why I've decided something." Everyone went quiet. Grandma continued, "Yesterday, I contacted the organization running the program Maya wants for her son. I am paying for it myself." Maya's head jerked up. "Wait, what?" My grandma nodded. "He deserves the chance. And your sister deserves her education." Problem solved. For one blissful second, I thought that would end it. But then Maya whispered, "If you could afford that, why not say anything before humiliating me like this?" My grandma raised an eyebrow. "Because you tried to take something that was never yours. And you dragged half the family into a fight you created." My aunt sputtered something about just trying to help, but Grandma shut her down with a single look. Dinner went on in uncomfortable silence after that. The only words Maya said were to her son. When we got home, my parents looked relieved but also exhausted. I felt guilty even though I hadn't done anything. Then, a couple hours later, I got a message from Maya. "I hope you're happy. Grandma bailed you out. But we both know you didn't deserve that money in the first place." I didn't reply. Honestly, I thought this was over. But based on that message, yeah, this is far from finished. The next morning, I woke up to about 15 notifications, not from Maya this time, but from the family group chat. Grandma had apparently left the group. My grandma, the woman who still uses a flip phone and thinks emojis are little pictures for children. For her to leave a chat? The drama level was officially off the charts. A few minutes later, my dad called everyone into the living room. He had a printout in his hand, an actual printed screenshot. Apparently, he'd taken my phone while I was asleep to check if Maya kept messaging me. She hadn't, but she had posted a long rant in a cousin-only group chat. The rant basically painted me as a spoiled, ungrateful brat who sat on a pile of money doing nothing, while her nephew begged for a chance at a better life. She even claimed I had called her son not worth it. I've never said anything even remotely close to that. But the part that really set my dad off was her ending line. If Opie loved her nephew, she'd do the right thing and give up the fund. She's just too selfish. My dad printed that out like it was Exhibit A in a courtroom. He looked tired. My mom looked furious. "We're done," my dad said. "No more giving her the benefit of the doubt. No more hoping she'll stop. We're setting boundaries." He called a family meeting, but online, because no one wanted a repeat of the dinner explosion. And then he said something I didn't expect. "You don't have to attend. This isn't your mess to fix." I stayed in my room, but I could hear everything through the thin walls. My dad was calm, but in a terrifying way. He laid out everything, the lies, the guilt trips, the group chat manipulation, even the message Maya sent me the night after dinner. He ended with, "OP's college fund is not up for discussion. Anyone who feels otherwise can kindly keep their distance." There was some arguing, mostly from the same aunt, but my grandma shut everyone down again. She said, "This conversation is embarrassing. A child's education should not require begging from another child. Maya owes her sister an apology." Silence. No apology came. After the call ended, my parents looked done, not angry anymore, just sad. Later that evening, Maya finally texted me. It wasn't an apology. Not even close. She wrote, "I hope you enjoy your precious college fund. Because you just lost a sister." I stared at it for a long time. I didn't cry. I thought I would, but nothing came out. I just felt tired. Tired of being the scapegoat. Tired of being dragged into drama I didn't create. Tired of feeling guilty for wanting the future my family promised me. I blocked her. My parents blocked her. Even my grandma blocked her. The next day, my grandma came over with a tin of sweets and told me, "Focus on your studies. The rest will sort itself out." And that was that. The chapter closed, not cleanly, not neatly, but firmly. I don't know if Maya and I will ever reconcile. Maybe someday. Maybe not. But I do know this. I'm not giving up my future for someone who sees my life as a backup plan for theirs. If this story kept you hooked, give it a like, share your thoughts below, and subscribe for more.